Hello YouTube chess lovers and my friends, this is Gunjan here. Welcome to the 32nd episode of Dirty Chess Tricks. In this episode, I'm going to show you some of the devastating and wonderful tricks in the Slav defense from the black perspective. The opening arises after the following order, that is d4, d5, c4, and now black support the center with the move c6. And it doesn't matter whether your opponent continue with knight to c3 or knight to f3. Let's say in this game white continue with the move knight to c3, and after knight to f6 we reach to the pretty much starting position of the Slav defense. Now the first trick I want to show you is when white continue here with the move e3, which is in fact very much popular at the higher level. Before I move on, there is one point I like to mention here, that there is a difference between Slav and semi-Slav defense. In Slav defense, generally black prefer this bishop either on f5 or g4 before he closed the center, where in semi-Slav black plays the move e6 immediately and preserve this bishop to safeguard the b7 square. Okay, black continue obviously with bishop to f5, and one of the main line continue from here onwards, that is bishop to d3, bishop captures d3, queen captures d3, and now the move e6. So black is more than happy to get rid of his bad bishop and creating this light square pawn chain, which gives him a rock solid position. White continue with the move knight to f3, knight b to d7, castle on the king side, and now here my recommendation is black should continue with the move bishop to b4. Obviously this move is very tricky, and the most popular response from here is bishop to d2, which creates the first trap if black is not careful enough. For example, if black foolishly castle at this point, then after knight captures d5, white obtain a winning position. A sample line can run like this: bishop captures d2, knight captures f6 check, knight captures f6, and now queen captures d2, and after all white emerged with an extra pawn and a wonderful position. So obviously black should not fall for this, and instead of that here black should continue with the move a5, so protecting the bishop. Naturally white is going to hit this bishop with the move a3 with a tempo, and bishop drop back to the e7. Afterwards, the most popular choice are either e4 or b3 followed by e4, but against both of them, black has a devastating tactical blow. Now, if your opponent plays the move e4 immediately here, then I have attached a sample line in the PGN, which will give you a very good idea how black should obtain an advantage and in fact play for the win. The move I want to consider in this video is b3, which is very natural. White's idea is if black captures the c4 pawn, then he wants to recapture with the pawn and consolidate his center. So naturally black has to avoid this and castle on the king side. And after this, what can be the more natural than playing the move e4, grabbing every single space in the center and asking black, what are you doing? Well, yes, of course, it's a pretty sight for the white, except there is one problem, that black is winning after this wonderful move. Bam! So now black is sacrificing the whole knight and white is obliged to take it, otherwise the e4 pawn will drop and in fact the position. So let's see what black is up to after this devastating piece sacrifice. D captures c5, and now black reveal his nasty idea with d captures e4, attacking two piece. Once again white response is force, white has to take the queen, and after rook f to d8, you can see the vital point by the black, that is black is still attacking two pieces and white cannot save both of them. If knight captures e4 here, then the simplest is you take this knight, and after bishop to e3 and bishop captures c5, after the whole sequence black emerged with an extra pawn. so that can't be good for the white. So the most popular response at this position is bishop to e3, but I don't think so this resolve any problem by white camp, because after e captures f3, g captures f3, and the move rook to d3, already black has given white a double pawn and attacking on the knight. Now to illustrate the danger in this position, I like to show you one of my rapid game from this position where my opponent was 2100 rated plus and he continued with the move knight to e4. His idea is, if I foolishly take this b3 pawn, then after rook to b1, rook captures, so you can see that rook is attacking on b7, and now black cannot defend with the move rook to b8 because after bishop to f4, the resulting position is favorable to the white side. But of course, black is in a no rush to capture this pawn. So instead of that, I continue with a stronger move, that is knight to h5. So now indeed I have stopped the move bishop to f4 and black is all set to capturing the b3 pawn. Now it doesn't matter whether white continue here with rook to b1 or the move b4, because more or less it leads to the same scenario. In the game, he continued with the move b4, but after f5, white is in a great difficulty. The game continues with the move knight to b6, attacking the rook, rook to d8, and now white sees nothing better than capturing this pawn, but then comes f4, hitting the bishop, bishop to c1, and now bishop captures c5. Even though material is balanced, you can see the pathetic position of the white pieces. Not only it has a two set of double pawns, but his pieces are hardly considered as an active in this game. After few moves, black easily converted the full point. The second trick happens in queen to c2 variation, where not only white protect the c4 pawn but also stopping bishop to f5 idea. Now pay special attention here, because the game I'm about to show you, where 2400 plus rated IM fall into this trick and immediately get lost position in the opening. And not only him, time to time many title players are falling into. So there are every chance that you might get in one of your game. At this position, black, who is a GM, continue with the move d captures c4, and after queen captures c4, now he develops his bishop with bishop to f5. So black has given slight concession by giving up the center in order to complete his piece development. Okay, the main line runs with the move g3, e6, bishop to g2, knight b to d7, castle on the king side, bishop to e7, knight to c3, and castle on the king side. Well, here white should continue with the move either e3 or rook to e1, where game is completely balanced. But many times, and as happened in this game, white decided to continue with the move rook to d1 if he doesn't know the theory very well. This move looks very natural, as white has a very simple idea, that is knight to h4, attacking the bishop, and when the bishop move, he wants to continue with the move e4, d5, open up the center and get a wonderful position. Sometimes in chess we think too far and missed out the immediate disaster, and this is one of the clear case. Before I move on, I like you to pause this video and find out a move which will immediately gives black a winning edge. Okay, I hope you find this wonderful move, bishop to c2, and black is winning on the 10th move of the game. The idea behind this cute move is, now this white queen doesn't have any escape square. So for example, if white continue to save his rook with rook to e1, then after knight to b6, the white baby is trapped in the center of the board. Amazing, right? So accordingly, white cannot move the rook, and the majority of the cases continue here with the move e3. But after bishop captures rook and knight captures bishop, just within 12 moves, black naps the exchange, and in fact, with accurate play, can easily convert the full point. I have attached rest of the game in the PGN, which will give you a very good idea how black should continue from here onwards. The third and the final trick I want to consider in the Gala-Toulouse Gambit, which is one of the aggressive setup by white, and it arises after the following order, that is knight to c3, d captures c4, and now white gambit the pawn for grabbing the center with the move e4. Okay, black naturally defend this c4 with the move b5, and now the main line continues with the following order, that is e5, knight to d5, a4, e6, a captures b5, knight captures c3, attacking the queen. So white response is force, b captures c3, and now black get his pawn with c captures b5. White's main idea is to play knight to g5 and after bishop to b7. If you check this position in online database, you will find out that here the most popular response is queen to h5. And it is very logical as well, because after the move queen to h5, white is hitting two spots and black cannot defend both of them. So the question is what to do? Well, as usual, I am going to suggest a very tricky move in this position, and that is queen to d7. So not only black is protecting the f7, but setting up a devastating trick. Now here black should continue with the move bishop to e2, but not many of your opponent are going to resist with this continuation, that is knight captures h7. And it looks very logical because now white is threatening two-way attack, that is either knight to f6 or knight to f8, and black cannot parry both of them. And after all, white regained his pawn back with a wonderful position. And yes, indeed, it's true, except one problem, that white is straight away fallen into the black tricky camp. Tricky zone start with the move knight to c6. So now white has few choices, but against each of them, black has some wonderful tactical shots. The first move I want to consider is knight to f6, which looks very natural because it's forking king and a queen, and after black's forced reply, that is g captures f6, white can simply win an exchange with a great position. Well, nope, it's not that simple, because black has this wonderful shot. Boom! Black is sacrificing more material to get white king, which is stuck in the center. If rook to a2, then knight to b3 is a very strong reply, and I have covered that line in the PGN. So the natural question arises, what happens if white accepts this piece? Well, after this, black will continue with the move queen captures d4, attacking the rook. Rook to a2, and now castle on the queen side. And suddenly, from nowhere, black obtain a winning position. Black has two threats which cannot be easily defended. And to illustrate the poison in this position, I like to show you one of my blitz game where my opponent, which is a candidate master, continue with the move rook to d2. But black response is very obvious, bishop to b4, not only pinning the rook but attacking the queen. My opponent defended with queen to h6, but just one move, queen to e1, and white realized that he is in a big time danger. He continued with the move king to e2, so unpinning the rook, but after the following sequence, that is bishop captures d2, bishop captures d2, and the star move c3, and white simply resign. The simple reason is white cannot move the bishop, as after queen to d1, white king can hardly survive in the open board. So it's very clear that knight to f6 leads to disaster zone for the white. So in the database, more than 10 games continue from here, knight captures f8. And it's very logical as well. White is exchanging pieces. Let's say if rook captures h5, then knight captures d7, and the resulting position with two bishop, I think white has slightly upper hand. But let me tell you one thing, that in this position, black has one of the most amazing tactical shot in the Slav defense, and I'll give you some time, think about it, how you are going to continue from black, which will obtain a winning position. Did you find it? Let's see. The stunning move is BAM! When first time I see this move, I said, hang on, what's going on, man? Is black is going nuts? Well, of course, it's not. And the more you look at this position, more you realize that after this wonderful queen sacrifice, white position is completely collapsing. If queen to f3, then queen captures e5 is a very strong reply. So mainly there are two frequent replies over here. The first move I want to consider is queen captures h8, which is not a good move. The simple reason is after queen captures c3, white cannot even think about going on the d file, as after castle, the game will not last long. So the obvious move over here is bishop to d2. Afterwards, black will enjoy this king dance, that is king to e2, knight to d4, king to e3, knight to f5, king to f4, queen check, king to g5, queen captures d2 check, f4, and now it's a matter of choice which move you want to consider. King e7 and queen to d8 both gives winning attack to the black. So the biggest question arises, what happens if your opponent take this queen? Well, after that, obviously black is going to recapture the queen, and now that knight on f8 is completely trapped. So white has to forcefully go for this line, that is knight captures e6, f captures e6, and now in the view of d4 pawn is hanging, white response is force. He has to continue with the move bishop to e3. Now to illustrate the ideas and the plans in the middle game from this position, I like to show you one of my game against a FIDE master, where I continue with the move rook to h4, attacking d4. If g3, then rook captures d4 is a very strong reply. So my opponent naturally defended with the move castle on the queen side. But this move awakened all the attacking prospects from the black perspective. Here I continue with the move knight to b4. He responded with bishop to e2. His idea is if I capture the g2 pawn, then his rook is going to be active via the move rook to g1. So I decided to avoid it and continue with a strong move bishop to e4. My simple idea is I want to exchange the light square bishop and then roll down queenside majority. And as you will see in this game, it turns out very well. My opponent continued with the move f3. I played bishop to d3. He captured my bishop. I captured with the knight. It's a check. So he responded with king to d2. And now here comes my plan. b4. So there are not one, not two, but three time bombs are going down to the end of the road, and white has to do a hell of a job to stop them. He responded with rook to a1. I continue my pawn march with a5, and after the following continuation, that is rook to a2, a4, h3, a3, rook h to a1, and now the final piece of the puzzle, king to f7, which creates a deadly strategic plan, that is I want to play rook to h5 and then join my other rook into the party and then continue with the move b4, and white is hopeless to stop this plan. After a few moves, black has comfortably win this game, and you can check it out in the PGN. Well, I hope you enjoy and learn these wonderful tricks in the Slav defense from the black perspective. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment on my video, and I'll meet you in my next episode very soon. Bye and take care.